ELIM is so easy, dude. Nobody even attacks me, cause I got the Master Spark and Ilionet. Man, I'm so good. Let me just use my Master Spark on this guy really quickly. And
I've lost this godforsaken game mode too many times, and I'm not losing another one due to unfair loadouts that I could do nothing about, so...
You are done. Fired.
So, let's preface the video with this. ELIM is heavily luck-based, but only about 25 to 30% of your games you'll be completely out-lucked and could have done nothing else. But that means that around 70% of your games, you'll probably have a loadout relatively good enough to win. And even if your opponents have better loadouts, with skill and strategy, you can still come out on top. And I know a lot of people don't like that these guides aren't compatible with mobile players, but this one is, besides use of shift lock. Because there's no combos or techniques, it's just strategy and playing your cards right. Let's begin. So first, the primary goal of ELIM is to survive with 3 lives with as many kills as possible until sudden death, so you can get the extra HP boost at the end. Once you reach sudden death, you can either kill the last people by pure damage, or by knocking them out of zone. If all you can use viably is a ranged weapon or projectile, try to steal kills while running around the outskirts of the map. Staying elevated also helps. However, if you have a very powerful melee weapon like Dragon Slayer, you have to be the aggro one. Try to press people who you see have weak melee weapons and little escape potential. Use cover to your advantage, and try not to be in the center of the map so you don't get hit by everyone else at the same time. However, let's say you have garbage, but one of your weapons has insane knockback like a singular punch or Vuvuzela. The question here is, should I hide until sudden death, or should I be aggro? Well, it's complicated, because hiding has upsides and downsides. The obvious upside is you have less confrontation and a higher chance of survival until sudden death. And the only cons are, A, people can find you if you have 3 lives, and B, you won't have as much HP later game due to your lack of kills. That last one may seem minuscule, but it's the major reason why I strongly advise against hiding, except in very specific scenarios. With that said, starting with your higher damage knockback items like Strong Left and a Singular Punch, these you should probably be relatively aggressive with, because they don't slow you down too much, and they do very solid damage. However, with something like Vuvuzela, this weapon only does 25 damage, and locks you in place for its duration. So for a loadout that has garbage but contains weapons like these, you should probably just camp and knock people away until sudden death. The only other time where I recommend hiding is if you have America. Keep in mind that the other one-shot weapons like Gender Reveal and Bob-em will not work, because at least one person in the final circle is going to have more than 250 HP. Take this game for example. Once I know I have America and a mobility item like Parasol, my goal is to stay on the rooftops to avoid conflict. I make a telepathic agreement with this other guy who's chilling, and we pretty much just wait out the whole round until sudden death. The only person who is a real threat in this final circle, though, is the guy with Ebony and Ivory because of his large HP pool and his strong ranged weapon. After he decimates almost the entire lobby with Master Spark, it's just me, the guy at the start who I'll call Sonic, and the main threat. Now, he was primarily targeting Sonic because I didn't attack him for pretty much the whole round. So in this situation, what you should do is just wait for Sonic to die, and then America the final guy. But Sonic was kind of my guy during this round, so instead I did this. So next, let's say you have a good ranged weapon. Well, there's one critical component to winning with a ranged heavy loadout: space cushioning. By space cushioning, I mean that you should always have solid distance away from everyone at all times. This acts as a metaphorical cushion, giving you time to react to anyone approaching you with a melee or any other items. A general rule of thumb I found is that everyone should ideally be outside of one Bob-em hitbox from you. If you have an item that gives you movement speed like Sunshine in a Bag, a melee weapon like Smile, or a dash ability, your cushion can be smaller. Now, there is another thing you need to know, but this topic deserves an entire section. Assuming nobody is attacking you, obviously you should primarily target low HP players, as that's the easiest way to upgrade killstreak weapons and get max HP. But you should also target people based off their weapon. If someone is holding out a melee weapon like Mad Murderer, obviously they pose much less of a threat to you than a person with Michael P. Not only do these people pose a threat to you, but also the whole lobby. I have lost way too many ELIM games because everyone is too scared to fight the guy with LilyNet. By not attacking the powerful guy, it seems like you're preserving your chances of survival, but in reality, you're just preventing your inevitable doom during sudden death. because this guy will just amass 11 kills and get 400 or more HP, and with those numbers, there's no chance of survival. And I hear you saying, but Balake, I'm gonna get cooked if he's better stuff than me. Well, that's not entirely true, because A, if someone does something like SKYLINE, they're probably playing pretty aggressive and taking some hits because of it. So if they're already being attacked by other people, just be on janitorial duty and finish them off if they try to run away. If there isn't anybody attacking them, you can either lock in or try to 1v1 them and probably die, or gather the people. A simple target the guy with SKYLINE in all caps should do the trick. If you can't type fast, just make sure to get into a safe spot before doing this so you don't die. Of course, sometimes everyone in your lobby has a room temperature IQ and won't listen to you, but it's definitely worth a shot because by eliminating the most powerful people, you significantly increase your chances of winning. And also, make sure whoever you're telling the lobby to attack has a weapon that's easily recognizable. Don't say, attack the guy with a singular punch, because you can't even see who has it until it's used. Those people are the ones you want to try to eliminate yourself. Let's real quick go over sudden death. If you have a trash loadout, you do have the option to reset before the zone closes in. However, rehashing what we said earlier, unless your loadout has no damage, no knockback or stunlock potential, that HP boost will really help you. Very few loadouts are actually terrible enough in this game to warrant a reset, but if you get something like the Jogger kit, yeah, just reset at that point. The last thing we should go over for ELIM is positioning. If you're playing aggressive with a melee heavy kit, covered and close ranged areas should be your primary areas of play. If you have a ranged heavy loadout, you should instead try to get to open areas and elevation. If you're trying to avoid conflict entirely though, obviously stay at the edges of the map with thick cover like buildings or trees. But also be aware of various hotspots on the map, like the convenience store on Townie. These should be avoided at all costs if you're trying to lay low. And finally, for sudden death. Normally, once the zone appears, just try to get there as fast as possible, but there's a few scenarios where you shouldn't. First is if there's already someone there who has a really powerful range weapon like Grand Volley or Fantasy Seal, and the sudden death point is elevated with a cliff near it. Take this game on Crossroads for example. I was originally on the correct elevation to survive sudden death, but the second this guy pulled out Grand Volley, I knew we were cooked because he can just blast us off with zero chance of recovery due to the shrinking zone. In this situation, try to damage him with literally whatever ranged weapon you have, and try to stay on elevated ground at all costs. If you don't do enough damage with your ranged weapon to make a difference, hide close to him and wait for him to use Grand Volley. Once he does, just try to 1v1 him with whatever melee or miscellaneous item you have. Keep in mind that the massive kill sign isn't shown during sudden death, so you can hide if you're able to. And that's the end of the full guide to the ELIM game mode. Do you have other tips you'd like to share? Tell me in the comments. The ZS guide is next, so if you enjoyed, please like the video and subscribe as it helps me a lot, and we're super close to 1K. But regardless, thank you for your time, and I'll see you soon.